Hello, my name is Twigg. I'm one of the student interns on the Speak team with Heffy. So the research project looks at student data from an online questionnaire and from 5 focus groups. And I'm going to share some of our findings about student voice. So before I do so, what do we mean by the term student voice? So student voice is the individual and collective perspective of students within an educational context, so within the university. First of all, the Speak project itself presents a way that the university are trying to incorporate student voice into its practices and attests to their value of student opinion in the way the university works. So the data that I'm going to share with you relates to questions about how and how often student feedback is collected, whether it's clear what is done with that feedback, and whether the students are aware of the avenues available for them to give feedback. So the first area that I'd like to highlight is student feedback on the opportunities they have had to feedback on their course. So 80% of students in the survey agreed that they'd been given the right opportunities to feedback on their course. A key theme that emerged from the focus group discussions in this area were the frequency of opportunities for feedback. So most students had opportunities to feedback on their course and are pleased with the frequency of these opportunities. These tend to be at the end of the module, with some noting opportunities to give feedback within a module, like mid-module reviews. So these mid and end of module feedback opportunities tend to be surveys that are emailed to students, and there appears to be a reasonable uptake in these. Students are mostly pleased with the frequency of the opportunities to provide feedback on their courses, but they feel that the timing of these opportunities isn't optimal, and they feel they would benefit from less restricted ways of feeding back. Students tend to use their reps and direct contact with staff via email to give feedback and make suggestions on changes they would like to see. These opportunities are not time restricted and seem to work well for students, especially if they feel their academic staff are approachable. The student reps are also really important for facilitating international students to be able to have their voice heard, as the reps present a link to academics for students who might not be confident in communicating with lecturers directly. The second area I'd like to highlight is students' perceptions of how academics value their opinion and use their feedback to develop teaching and learning. In the surveys, 69% of participants said they felt their voice was valued, yet only 45% said that it was clear how their feedback had been acted on. Similarly, in the focus groups, most students said that they were not aware of how their feedback had promoted change. This was impacted by the timelines for their study, and that once the feedback had been implemented, they were no longer in a position to notice its impact. A newsletter outlining how feedback had been used was suggested as a possible means of communication. This idea received mixed responses, with about half of the students in the focus groups saying that it was a good idea and others saying that the idea was good, but the means of dissemination could be improved. The main suggestion for how to communicate how the student voice had impacted teaching and learning was online, via social media, Canvas, and emails. So finally, when students were asked whether they felt the Guild of Students fully represented the student body, 59% said that they agreed. However, in focus groups, unfortunately, many students were not aware of the Guild and what they did. But the few who were said that they think they do represent the student body and that they look out for everybody. For those who were informed enough to comment on whether the Guild represents all students, there was a pervasive acknowledgement that they were limited in their ability to do this effectively. Thank you.